You know who's not dreaming of a white Christmas with every Christmas card he writes? Boris Johnson. Right now he's dreaming of a sun-drenched Christmas in which you can fry an egg on pavements from Bognor to Belfast. Because it may well be that what finally does for the flailing Prime Minister is not wine and cheese but wind and gas. Unlike wine and cheese at number 10, wind and gas are in short supply throughout the land. The media are reporting that the energy price cap will be doubled to £2,000 per annum in April. Since August, over a third of domestic gas suppliers in the UK have collapsed. Wholesale gas prices doubled in the first half of the year, then shot up another 70% in August. Currently, it's running at about 500% higher than a year ago. Europe bet that Vladimir Putin needed their 500 million customers more than they needed his gas. Mr. Putin, as is his wont, saw the situation differently and has been playing on again, off again with the gas pedal. Last Christmas he gave you his gas, but the very next day he took it away. So if you're in the European Commission building in Brussels and you're about to issue a strong statement about Russian troops massing on the Ukrainian border, don't be surprised if the lights go out 10 minutes later. As for wind energy, Boris Johnson, you'll recall, proclaimed that the United Kingdom would be the Saudi Arabia of wind. No sooner were the words out of his mouth than they dropped to the floor as an eerie stillness descended on these islands. Since then, no wind has blown. Wind speeds are at their lowest for some 6 decades. The good Lord has chosen to afflict us with a total lack of anything more than a light breeze, the occasional semi-zephyr. Well, it's either the good Lord or Chairman Xi in Beijing switching off the wind machine and wrecking the supply. But if you're one of the many Britons who likes to spend the weekend with a pair of binoculars watching the local wind turbines fillet rare species of bird, you're all out of luck. By the way, it doesn't have to be openly hostile actors like Putin luring you into the deep freeze. Even some dinky metrosexual globalist like Emmanuel Macron is happy to threaten to cut off the electricity to Jersey. Britain, through a combination of climate change posturing and geostrategic carelessness, seems among Western powers to have made its energy supply uniquely vulnerable. First, there was the coronavirus. That led to the somewhat eccentric decision by Western nations to tank their own economies. Amazingly, the near total cessation of economic activity had all kinds of real-world consequences. In 2020, the UK economy shrank by 10%, the worst contraction since the Great Frost of 1709. By contrast, China, which unleashed COVID on the world, more or less uniquely managed to grow its economy in 2020 and has been sufficiently flush with cash to buy up all the gas it needs at whatever price. There have been a lot of dogs that didn't bark in the age of COVID. It turns out that tens of millions of people are quite content to have the state tell them how long they're permitted to leave their homes for a daily constitutional. There are a lot of niche issues, often around our leaders' hypocrisy. But a cynical electorate seems to take it as read that the PM will be awash in wine and cheese, even as he bans it for you. But heating your home, especially if the government orders you to stay in it for weeks on end, is about as basic as it gets.